Bring another episode of Never Again Live podcast. It's a special issue, special edition because of everything going on internationally and particularly in Israel, where it seems to be hitting a all-time high of recent years. So here we go. We'll be back with our guests and with Meir, our host, in a few moments. Sometimes us Jews forget that in Genesis it says, "And the Lord said to Abraham, after Lot had parted from him, please raise your eyes and see from the place where you are, northward and southward, from eastward to westward, for all the land that you see I will give to you and to your seed to eternity." That's it. That's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what governments say, what the world says, what people say, what BDS says. This is the land that's ours. This includes Judea, includes what they call the West Bank. So please tune in to our episodes, share this with your friends on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube. We do have a special guest with us tonight. He's the founder of Lehava, and he tries to keep Israel as much a Jewish state as he can. He's also a member of Asma Yehudit, political party. And importantly, he's a past council member of Kiryat Arba, an urban Jewish community on the outskirts of Hebron. Later in the program, joining us will be Ron East, who's a regular co-host on our show. He's publisher and director of the JCA, which is Canada's leading source, and perhaps only source, for Zionist pro-Israel news, locally and internationally. Later in the program, joining us will be Ryan Belrose, also a regular guest on the show. He's a member of Canada with Israel, and he's a self-proclaimed Zionist. And me over here in the corner, I'll be the silent partner of the first 10 minutes of this introduction. We like to say in Texas that there's two Lone Star States. Just recently, Hamas has declared that their followers should attack synagogues, not just in Israel, but all over the world. And anybody who ever voices the statement that anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism is obviously wrong, because this is blatant international anti-Semitism. This is an example that the leaders of the Palestinians want to set for their children.
بتكرار هذه الصورة باستباحة المسجد الأقصى فهو نفسه قد أخذ القرار باستباحة آلاف الكنس والمعابد اليهودية على امتداد العالم أجمع.
Of course, we don't subscribe to his theory, but it's almost like telling us, well, then it's okay for you guys to go attack mosques all over the world, since we're going to be attacking synagogues with innocent civilians within them.
بتكرار هذه الصورة
Again, whoever makes a decision to repeat the desecration of the mosque, which is on the Temple Mount, which is our property, will be making a decision to desecrate thousands of synagogues. Is this calling for a civilian uprising against synagogues and mosques? Meanwhile, back in Northern America, the Muslim Association of Canada is having their annual convention, and among the guests will be Hatem Bazian, who calls for an intifada in our countries. To establish an Islamic presence in Canada that is integrated within the social fabric and culture of Canada is the slogan and the mission statement of the Muslim Association of Canada. These are just a few of their property holdings just throughout Canada, their mosques, their schools, and their Islamic centers. So who is the Muslim Association of Canada? They're the group who donated almost $300,000 to IFRAN Canada. Which went on to transfer $14.6 million to terrorist groups, including Hamas. This is well documented. This isn't hearsay. And according to the Ottawa Citizen newspaper, members of the Muslim Association of Canada have been members of the Muslim Brotherhood. And again, I'm just quoting this from an article, and this is published. So we have association with Muslim Brotherhood, with Hamas, and then the question to ask is the government of Canada, whose finances and subsidizing the MAC, are they then supporting terrorist history revising Hatem Bazian with the emphasis on the hate? He calls for unequivocally an intifada in North America. Ask why we don't have one already. So don't be fooled by these terrorists in suits. He also is the founder of a college in California where the only degree you can obtain is one in Sharia law.
We are a majority and we should act and envision ourselves as the global majority. And we need to increase our participation politically. We need to take one neighborhood at a time.
What does he mean by take one neighborhood at a time?
We need to take one neighborhood at a time.
We are many, they're few.
They are many, 1.8 billion Muslims on the planet, with around 15 million Jews.
We are many, they're few.
Our political leadership was born without a spine. We need to give them genetic mutation and constitute a Palestinian spine for them.
You need to count your days because the corruption that Israel represents will come to an end.
That sounds like a downright threat to the person who's going to be speaking in Canada and is partially financed by the government of Canada.
Will come to an end.
There are a large number of Zionists who are engaged with Nazi Germany.
Zionism accepted to be the junior partner with the anti-Semitic European powers.
Which includes, as we know, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, who went out, had coffee with Hitler, and toured the concentration camps.
We need to translate our strength into harassment of the political leadership. We need to harass them, have a civil disobedience.
We've been watching Intifada in Palestine, we've been watching an uprising in Iraq, and the question is that what are we doing? How come we don't have an Intifada in this country?
The time to rise up is today.
The only language that the slave master understands is the language of violence.
They're going to say it's the Palestinian being too radical. We haven't seen radicalism yet.
That's one of the guest speakers at the Muslim Association Convention in Canada. And we've got another guest coming, Fadel Saliman. These terrorists in suits aren't always wearing suits, only when they're speaking to the American and the Canadian press.
هنا يحتاج أولادنا أن يعرفوا لماذا الإسلام فقط هو الذي يهاجم. لا أحد يهاجم اليهودية ولا يجرؤ أحد أن يهاجم اليهودية.
He's claiming that no one is attacking Judaism. What world does he live in?
قليل جدا من الناس من يهاجم المسيحية ولا يوجد أحد يهاجم الهندوسية رغم أنهم يعبدون الأبقار. لا أحد يهاجم إلا الإسلام فقط.
That is blatantly delusional to say that Jews are not being attacked.
يجب أن يعرف الناس لماذا الإسلام يهاجم. كل الأديان الموجودة أديان شعائرية تهتم في الأساس بالروحانيات والترانيم والأغاني والأذكار.
He forgets that Judaism is concerned about having not only all of those things he lists, but our own country, our own homeland. And that's what they don't get.
ونحن في الإسلام عندنا روحانيات وعندنا أذكار، ولكن عندنا شيء غير موجود في أي دين آخر، وهو أنه دين المقاومة.
Then he goes out and blatantly admits to the world that they're a religion of resistance, that if you don't follow their way, that you need to get out of the
إذا
way.
ظن الناس أن الفساد والظلم سيتفرجان على الإسلام وهو يطلب من أتباعه ويأمرهم بمقاومتهما دون أن يهاجموا الإسلام فنحن سذج. لذلك على أولادنا أن يفهموا كلما يهاجم الإسلام علينا أن نشعر بالفخر أكثر. لأننا ننتمي لهذا الدين الذي يغيظ الفاسدين ويغيظ الكافرين
He's saying that Islam irritates the corrupt and the unjust, when Islam is the corrupt and the
ويغيظ
unjust.
الظالمين.
Not only what he just said in his speech, but he started the World Assembly of Muslim Youth, which was co-founded by Muslim Brotherhood spokesman Kamil Halawabi, emphasis on the hell, and by Osama bin Laden's nephew, Abdullah bin Laden, is the organization that the guest speaker coming to speak in Canada, partially financed by the government of Canada, is welcoming with open arms. He also, while serving as a Muslim chaplain at the American University in Washington, D.C., he published a guidebook for students. Again, he did not write it, he published it, a handy encyclopedia of religious sects. In it, it says that after King Solomon, the Jews became filled with shameful things and sinful behavior, and the Jews spread moral decay in the world. This is what he's teaching students at the American University. That the Jews distorted religion. And he lists in this book that he published that Zionism, Freemasons, and International Rotary are complicit in a Jewish conspiracy to corrupt and tightly control the world. It sounds like he is repeating historical documents from before him, like the elders of Zion. In India, their offices were raided of the World Assembly of Muslim Youth. In Alexandria, Virginia, 50 agents went in to raid it, and they found some publications, one of which uncovered a list where they honored terrorists as their heroes from Palestine. Again, this is who's coming to speak in Canada. And he goes on to document that Jews are humanity's enemies. They foment immorality in this world. So this is the Muslim Association of Canada's convention upcoming. For the last 3 episodes, we spoke about Al-Quds Day. And we thought that, as every year, it's a terrible time period and then it ends. But this time it didn't end. After Al-Quds Day was over and they continued to kill Jews, they continue to do the same. Lest we forget that Hillel the Elder said specifically, if I'm not for me, who will be for me? And that's what particularly progressive and Reformed Jews need to realize, that we can be for everybody else also, but we can't forget about saving ourselves. Nonetheless, they'll tikkun olam us into extinction. It's written in the Talmud who comes to kill you, get up early to kill him first. I think Israel needs to realize this, that true, they finally caught the 2 terrorists, but not before they killed 5 innocent people.
הבא להוגך השכם רוגו, זה לא כהנא וזה לא, זאת התורה, תורת השם. ומי שמרחם על האכזר, סופו להיות אכזר על הרחמן. ואיזו ממשלה יכולה לקום היום ולהגיד בכנות, ידינו לא שפכו את הדם הזה. כל יהודי שנרצח בדם קר, שני שוטרים, הערבי שרצח אותו והממשלה שעשתה שהוא אכן רצח.
And for those who thought that Kahani was too radical, too extreme, too right-wing, too everything, many are now realizing that his comments were correct and he was a prophet. Because just what he predicted would happen is exactly what's happening today in Israel and internationally. And those who don't speak Hebrew, the simple translation of what he said.
It's better to have a Jewish state that is hated by the whole world than an Auschwitz that's loved by it.
As always, we'll start off with the Parsha of the week, which Meir will summarize and apply to present times. It's Kedoshim from Leviticus. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the entire congregation of the children of Israel, and say to them, you shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. And for those who want to hear the first two lines chanted.
Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el kol adat bnei Yisrael v'amarta.
Let's bring up the next line.
Alehem kedoshim tihiyu ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem alehem.
The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. So please don't look on and do nothing. Be active, either on social media or move to Israel, make aliyah, or share this with your friends, with your colleagues on social media and wherever else you can get the word out. Because here in Israel now, we don't sit around and do nothing. And enough of me. Here's Meir with the Parsha of the week.
Good evening, everyone. It's evening time in Israel and North America. It's not afternoon, early afternoon. Welcome. Going to ask everyone who's joining us if you could please share this with your different platforms on social media. We'll reach a lot more people. We have very important issues to talk about tonight, and I'm happy that Bentzi Gopstein, friend, ally, colleague, is joining us tonight to fill everybody in really what's going on in this part. Talk about God's holy, and last week on Thursday on Yom Ha'atzmaut, I went up with many other Jews to Har Bayit, the Temple Mount, and it was an incredible experience. But what I saw as well was a Jewish guy unfurl a small Israeli flag. The police immediately grabbed it from him, moved him to the side. There were Hamas flags there. They weren't doing that. There, I didn't see anyone arrested for last Thursday, going on for the entire month. Educate us of what Ramadan is, where they had Hamas banners and they were talking about kill the Jews. They're explaining to me what Ramadan is. That's what Ramadan is. That's what I saw. Incitement to murder Jews using a mosque as a launch pad for attacks against Jews with Molotov cocktails, and they're certainly throwing rocks down from the Temple Mount onto the Kotel, where Jews were praying as well. Now, after visit to the Temple Mount, to Har Bayit, as is the tradition in Israel on Yom Ha'atzmaut, you have barbecues. So certainly I went over to some friends' places. We had a barbecue. We had a great time. We're talking about Israel, what a success story, what a miracle it is. And then later night, there was a gruesome in Elad, Israel. Workers, Arab workers from the territories that were driven in by one of the victims. Not the first time either that he drove them in to Israel for money. And he was the first victim. They butchered him with knives. And that evening, there was the Israeli media tried to depict something. In fact, a member of Knesset, Ahmed Tibi, zeroed in on this on his Twitter account, took a screenshot. And it was someone in that community in Elad screaming at Bentzi Gopstein and saying, it's because you guys went up to Har Bayit, you should not go up. And let's just be nice. Bentzi tonight. Bentzi's going to talk about the Temple Mount, what the struggle's about, what the reality is about terrorism going on. What's going on with all these people coming in to do construction work in Israel who attend rallies, vicious rallies, calling for the death of Jews, supporting Hamas. The leader of Hamas, Sinwar, Yahya Sinwar, made a clear statement. He said, we don't have to fire rockets, though they'll do it, but just grab an axe, grab a knife, grab a screwdriver, kill Jews anywhere. And they're still coming into work, into Israel. What's going on? We'll be talking about that. And again, on our chat on the side, feel free to post your questions, comments. We'll do our best to address it as well. Bentzi, are you there?
You hear me?
I can hear you very well. How you doing?
Okay, my English is not so good, so sorry, but I try. First, the man that shouted at me is not living in Elad. He live in Yerushalayim. He call himself Admor. He's not Admor. He's not a rabbi. I don't know what his story is. Little, not so normal. But he tell me that all open because we're going to Har Bayit. I tell him Har Bayit, it's our place. It's a shame place. Amakabim, Achashmonaim, go to Har Bayit. They don't go to the Kotel and they don't go to another place. And if we bring so much Arabs, all the Hamas, you see, hundreds of thousands that Arabs come to Har Bayit, and all the Rabbanim, everyone, don't say nothing. You can't to go to Har Bayit. All your enemies go to Har Bayit, but the rabbis tell me don't go to Har Bayit. This is not logical things.
Right. Have any of the rabbis issued any kind of a clear statement denouncing Hamas flags and banners and the incitement on our holiest site?
Yeah, I tell the rabbis, you don't want to go out to Har Bayit, okay, I understand you. But if I can't go, so tell also that all the Arabs don't go. If you tell I don't want to see no Arabs, one Arabs in Har Bayit, so I don't go to Har Bayit either. But if they can't go and you don't say nothing, so I must to go to Har Bayit, to our holiest place.
So why would you think the silence is there from these rabbis?
בפרשה שתהיה אצלנו, בפרשה בהר, כתוב, כי לי בני ישראל עבדים. Don't be a slave. אסור להיות עבדים לעבדים. אנחנו העבדים של הקדוש ברוך הוא. We need to be the slaves just for הקדוש ברוך הוא. And all these rabbis and the people, they are still in the galut. They look like, you know, what the goy say, don't go to our bait, okay, we don't going. But we need to understand, we live in Eretz Israel. Eretz Israel, it's Kadosh Baruch Hu. And we need to do what we want to do, not what the goy tell us to do. This is a big problem. And they, you know, if they so afraid, every morning they say in the tefillah, אלה ברכב ואלה בסוסים, ואנחנו בשם השם אלוקינו נזכיר. אנחנו, we believe in God. But after 1 hour, the Hamas say something, oh, we're afraid, don't do something, don't do anything. This is our problem, זה הגלות. ויותר קל להגיע מהגלות לארץ. It's better, it's easier to come from the galut to Eretz Israel. But it's so hard to take out the galut from the Jewish.
Right. Right. Okay, so one of the victims of the attack in Elad, he was part of a social group that were providing transportation for these Arabs from territories, I think they're from Jenin even, to come in and work into Israel. He's done it many times. There was that they're charging, I think I saw posted, 150 shekels, which works out to about $60 Canadian. And
yes.
How vast would you say that is of others that are transporting these illegals?
I tell you some. First, I don't want to speak about him. He died,
okay,
and he died with the Arabs. But I don't have a problem just from Arabs from the territories. What about the Arabs from Yafo? From Yerushalayim? Now Arabs go to Kap in Yerushalayim. It's not a problem, the Arabs from territories or the Arabs from Yerushalayim. I put stickers, fire today, a mechabel shel machar. He will be tomorrow mechabel, so don't hire him. Everyone that take someone, he can kill you. Arabs that can kill you, he take him to work, it's a rotzeach. So you don't know tomorrow what he will be do. And if you take him because you want to save $10 or something like this, it's not worth the Jewish, it's not worth the life. You can you pay a little more money and you take it Jewish. But for 50 shekels, you take Arabs, why? And this is the reason they attack us. The Arabs work in Elad, and they know everywhere there. They know where to go. They know where to kill. So the people that live there, and they take them and they hire them, they can say our hands is lo shafchu et adam hazeh. You can't say it because everyone that bring him, he was a part in the murder.
When the riots and the Hamas flags and banners and the chants of kill the Jews were going on Har Bayit during Ramadan, are you aware of any Islamic leader in Israel who denounced that?
I don't hear it. You hear someone? I don't hear anyone. I don't hear someone. I tell you, I don't think that they will do it because they believe Arabite is there. They believe El Aqsa is Muslim. So why they say don't go? Let's bring it to Jewish. They don't have a problem like Jewish that give the Arabs Al Aqsa, give the Arabs Bet HaMikdash. They are, I respect them because they believe that they're right and they fight for the beliefs. And we don't believe. This is a problem. This is our problems.
Right. Also, on that question, there are Arab members of Knesset.
Yes.
Are there any Arab Knesset members who have denounced Hamas and the call for murdering Jews
First, I tell you that Arabs members of Knesset can speak against Jewish what they want, but I can't be a Chaver Knesset in Israel. It's all the judges in the Bet HaMishpat HaElyon say that I can't go to a member of the Knesset. I love of Israel, and I can go and be a member of Knesset. And the Arabs, they said, Be'ad, he want to kill Jewish, he want to kill soldiers, he can be a member of the Knesset. This is a problem. This is our problem in Israel. They ban me for they ban me for the Knesset, they ban me for Facebook, Twitter, the TV, they don't take me because I am, I'm not in their thought. My Hebrew is better. Sorry.
I understand, but you're coming off very good. Very good. All right. So apparently there is a petition going around right now.
Yes.
Can you explain the petition? I mean, they're asking for the death penalty for these two mass murderers of Jews from Elad and other terrorists as well. But, one of the things about there was video up about these terrorists who were just arrested earlier today was there's a scene that the Israeli police, they're giving them cigarettes and drinks and interrogating them, and then also somebody posted on social media, a few people posted that one of them has an interest in going to school for law, and another has an interest in going to school for economics. And in the Israeli prison system, they give them full education and meals and everything. So you have a petition, or I don't know but there is a petition going around calling for the death penalty.
We see Rabbi Kahana. We see Rabbi Kahana in the movie. He said in Hebrew, "Kol hamerachem al ha'achzar, sofo leitachzer al harachman." Who has mercy to these killers after he will fight against settlers, against me, against Haredim. They don't give settlers, when they arrest him, they don't give him cigaria. And this Arab, they arrest him and give him cigaria. And now you see they're lies, they're lovely, because if the soldier do something to this mechabel, all the media and all the Chaver Knesset say, "What are you doing?" Like Elor Azaria. This is our problem. We are mercy, merachmim al achzarim. And like you say before, Abba leorgecha, ashkem leorgo. Who wants to kill you, you kill him first. You don't need to give him cigaria.
Right. So Naftali Bennett, the prime minister, declared prime minister in Israel, made a statement earlier today that he said the solution they're coming up with is that they want to have a civilian security patrol, volunteer security patrol in Israel. I come from Canada, running the JDL. There's got to be a JDL in Israel. Yeah. There's an army here. There's a police here.
To tell you the truth, I don't hear Naftali Bennett. I don't believe for one word that he say. I don't hear him because I don't want, I don't want to be very angry. What he say, he do everything afuch. He don't do what he's saying. So don't believe Naftali Bennett to one word of him. The problem, if I go with a gun, no one give me a gun, but if I go with something to help, with a knife to help another Jewish, they will arrest me and take me to jail. So you can't do JDL here in Israel. It's not really democratic. You can save. You can go out to the street and protect Jewish friends. This is a problem in Israel. But we don't. We try everything to save another one.
Right. And apparently earlier today there was another terrorist attack by Shar Shechem. That Israeli police officer was stabbed.
Here in Jerusalem, where we're waiting so much years to wait to come back to Jerusalem. We go from Canada and go from Pinsk and Minsk here to Eretz Israel, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, and here in Israel, the Arabs ממשיכים להרוג אותנו. This is a problem.
You know, there's the slogan a lot of people hear, we want Mashiach now. And I remember Rabbi Kahana, he made a statement and he said, we don't wait for Mashiach. We bring
it.
We take action. So what kind of change is going on in Israel right now? I see Itamar Ben-Gvir, he's speaking all over the country. A lot of people are supporting him now. It's like he came from like one seat just about, and now there's so much in the street. The public is going on. Yair, the minister of Israel, he doesn't go to sleep until he makes a statement against Itamar Ben-Gvir. So tell me what is going on with the hope in Israel in terms of support and changing the situation.
I don't know. We hope that we can do something here in Israel, but you know, it's so deep. It's not democratic. It's not real democratic here in Israel. They love to say we are democratia, but no, we are not democratia. Me, Baruch Marzel, Ben Ari, they banned us from the Knesset. So even Itamar Ben-Gvir have a lot of seats. He can't put us. He can't say what Rav Kahana say, because if he say it, they banned him. So I don't know what will be. We're doing everything to bring the Mashiach, and we're doing everything to save Jewish people, but it not will be so easy. If we don't do what Rav Kahana said we need to do before 20, 30 years, and we don't do it, until we don't do it, it will be not good here in Israel.
Okay, but
sorry to say it, but
no, I hear. Listen, I'm here already 6 weeks, and there's 5 terror attacks.
If we don't take everyone that don't believe in Jewish state out of Israel, it will be a lot of asanot here in Israel.
And that seems to be the central issue. That on the one hand, you have Jews that want an Israeli state, and on the other hand, you have Jews that say we want a Jewish state. That there has to be a definition. What is a Jewish state? And that's what to fight for.
נכון. זה המלחמה. זה עיקר. This is what we need to fight. To tell the young people that you need every morning come and say, כמה טוב להיות יהודי טוב. How it's good to be Jewish. Don't be afraid to say I am a good Jewish. I am a pray Jewish. This is what we need to teach every child. But in Israel, you can do it. You can say it. You can go to arrest you if you say every morning, Baruch Hashem shelo asani goy. They can take you to jail. So we have a lot of work in Israel. But אנחנו לא מתייאשים, and we are ממשיכים בעזרת השם.
No, I know you're doing wonderful work. There's examples of girls, Jewish girls that have ended up in Arab villages. They can't leave.
Every day.
I was involved a number of years ago in helping bring out, I can't get into all the details, but bring out a Jewish girl that was in a cult and rescuing her. And thank God she eventually went back to her family and married and has Jewish kids.
It's every day. We have stories.
You're doing the work. You're doing it all.
Yeah.
You're doing that here.
Every day we have Jewish daughters, 12, 13, little daughters that Arabs take them and use them. And if you go to the police, the parents go to the police we can do nothing. Sorry. So this is what we're doing every day.
Right. Well, it's fabulous work. It's fabulous. And I would say that, and please God, Itamar gets a lot of strength in the Knesset that he could actually allocate government funding to that program. That's something that has to be government funding, stamp of approval, and Jewish education.
We need to be prime minister. You need to be prime minister. It's take time, but I hope it will be. Sometimes it will be, but we see. It's take time. It's not so easier.
No one, nothing comes easy, but there's work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done, but I see progress going on. When I was in Israel, when I went to yeshiva in Israel, and I remember we went one time, me and my roommate, we went for a trip to Eilat, just to take a break from everything. And gorgeous city and all that, but we saw pizza shops with their signs, ham on pizza. And today I see, I don't see that in Eilat today. I see a lot more Jews coming back. And not only that, but I see that in Israel right now, there's over 7 million Jews living in Israel.
Of course. Also in the Temple Mount. In the Temple Mount, before 20 years, I go, you go. Not everyone know everyone that's going. You can see some person that first time is going up. But today, Baruch Hashem, we have yeshiva in the Temple Mount. We have a kollel. They learn every day in the Temple Mount and pray every day in the Temple Mount and go up every day. A lot of people. This is revolution. This ma'apecha, Baruch Hashem. We have changes in Israel.
Right. I think on Thursday there was. I think there was Jews that went up that day.
Yes, 700 something like this.
What's going on, and also limited times that we're allowed to. Can you go over for our viewers the times that Jews are only permitted to go up to the temple?
It will be Be'ezrat Hashem. Just Jewish will come up or to the Bet HaMikdash.
It's like first thing in the morning, you're allowed up for an hour. In the afternoon, you're allowed up another hour. What would be the situation if they said, you'll have access any time of the day? Jews have access any time of the day. How many Jews would go up now?
I hope that will be a lot of Jewish. I tell you, we have a yeshiva every morning and kollel every tzoraim, go up to our Bayit. And every day, more and more Jewish come to our Bayit. So it's not be easy. We need to learn to teach the people of Israel that you need to go to our Bayit. This is a place of Maccabim and Hashmonaim, and this is the place of Hashem. And every day we have a new Jewish that come up to our Bayit. Baruch Hashem.
So you have the head of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar, and he says, and he continues to say, he's calling on Arabs throughout the land of Israel to use whatever object you can get your hands on, a knife, a screwdriver, an axe.
And the Israeli government said, we don't do you nothing. Don't be afraid. It's just Itamar Ben-Gvir said you need to kill you. But we are not going to do you nothing. This is a problem of the Israel government.
You know, if somebody killed Adolf Hitler before the Holocaust, and here you have someone calling for the murder of Jews, and he's still breathing. He's still able to continuously say that. We have the most advanced military in the world. What's going on?
You know,
a high-tech prime minister. What's going on?
In the day of the Holocaust, everyone say what all the countries didn't do nothing in the Holocaust. Why they don't go and go להפציץ at Auschwitz? And I ask, why now? The Israeli government don't do nothing. It will be Holocaust. It will be a danger, and they want to kill us. And you do nothing. So what you say about the goyim that they don't do nothing?
Right.
This is our problems. Okay.
إذا الحرب جاءت بلحن الرصاص نزلنا على الكفر نبغي القصاص يساقون للموت ما من مناص ونسقي الهدى من دماء الوريد ونسقي الهدى.
And that's what they put on TikTok. They put it on TikTok. They upload it. They get thousands of views. People are saying, "Right on. That's the BDS message. That's right. This is what we have to do to the Jews," and they get away with it.
And I can do some. And they close my TikTok. I can put nothing in the TikTok, but the Arabs every day have someone in the TikToks. My phone is got out, so my battery is
okay.
בתקופה שפעם הוא היה ככה, פעם הוא היה ככה, פעם הוא היה ככה. יהודים עולים להר הבית, חרדים באים ערבים מזלזלים בציבור חרדי. צריך להפסיק לעלות להר הבית. אסור לעלות להר הבית. הפיגוע היום זה שהיו נגדרות ברמות. והערבים ראו שחרדים עלו היום. רגע זה הם לא תורישו את יושבי הארץ. התורה אומרת בוגד. הם לא תורישו את יושבי הארץ.
That's the truth of the matter. Bentzi said it right to this person who Bentzi that he's not even from there, and he made it a point to go after him and try to lecture him. Lecture him about what? It's ours. Har Bayit is ours, and Hamas and all their supporters and their BDS network and everyone who hates Jews is going up on Har Bayit, and they're making it very clear that they are raided and Jews and murdered and hacked to pieces. Bentzi, I know that you don't have much battery left, but I want to thank you very much for joining us tonight. Is he still here, or that was it? It looks like it just signed off, but
his battery went dead. So Meir, it's you, and when you want Ron to wait in, I'll put him on the screen.
Okay, so put Ron in. Man, we talked about the issues going on. Where's Ron? Is Ron here? There's Ron.
There I am. There I am.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Meir,
Ron, we don't want to depress you.
Interview.
We don't want to depress you.
No, listen, that was a fascinating interview. I had the opportunity to watch a documentary about Lehava and Bentzi and the work that they do on a show in Israel just a few weeks ago. I have to say that the work that they do with saving Jewish young females who sometimes get coerced into going into Arab villages and into relationships with the Arab men, other times are forced into it, sometimes doing it willingly because they're so young and foolish, and then they get stuck there. And like Bentzi said very accurately, the Israeli police a lot of times is handcuffed. Their fear of going into the Arab villages, the idea that, for many, many years that the Israeli police doesn't go into those towns, has caused this feeling and sense of untouchability, I guess, in some of the people in the Arab community. So the work that Bentzi does in saving these girls and the risk to their own lives, I mean, I watched what they do. It's amazing. So my hat goes down to him. And, no matter how you want to view Bentzi and some of his political views, what he wants is only what's best for Israel and for the Jewish people. What he wants is not to see another Jewish Israeli murdered, butchered. You can't even call it murder when somebody takes an axe and butchers you in the manner that these men were butchered in Elad. You look at somebody like Bentzi and you say, I understand where he's coming from, and I understand what he's looking at achieving. And I agree with many of the sentiments he said. I wrote myself down here. I said, what Israel is trying to be is Europe in the center of the Middle East, and you can't be Europe in the middle of the center of the Middle East. You can't bring democracy into an environment that does not want democracy. And the world has seen that, whether you look at Afghanistan, whether you look at Iraq, whether you look at Syria, whether you look at Iran, and I mean, the list can go on and on. The Muslim Arab world is not ready or willing to accept democracy as a way of conducting the day-to-day life. And the Arab Israelis are no different inside Israel in that manner. So, yeah, it was an amazing interview. But you know what? You just showed a video where they were glorifying the axes and the knives. But you don't have to go far than go on TikTok here in Canada and look at some of the leaders of the BDS movement here who are doing the same thing, sharing that video and pretty much calling for the same level of incitement against Zionists and Jews within Canada proper. And that should be be a sign and a signal to our Jewish community that we're heading into something very difficult. Meir, the funny part is not the funny, the sad part is as you're showing that video, and that video is no different than what you and I have seen in Toronto during Al-Quds Day. It's no different than what I've seen here in Winnipeg during Nakba Day commemorations on May 15th, the burning of the flag, of the Israeli flags, the chants, the raising of the Hamas flags, the Hezbollah flags openly, in our streets with police escorts as they walk down the street with signs calling for the death of Jews. And under the guise of democracy, this is somehow seen as tolerable. And our Städte leadership, what they say we should do is just close our windows, shutter our doors, stay inside, and just let them march. And, as Bentzi very clearly said, the more you let them do that, the more you embolden them to do other things and to feel stronger and stronger. And all of a sudden, it's the prisoners running the prison and not the prison guards. And that's unfortunate. That's what's happening in Israel. And let me tell you, that threat from Hamas vis-a-vis synagogues across the globe is something that we all need to take very, very, very seriously. It's not just
Gary, when he did the introduction, he went on about the Muslim Association of Canada, that they're bringing in speakers, that one calls for an intifada, the other says other horrible things. And thing is that so they advertise all this on their social media, who they're bringing in, one notified, come out. And I checked when they started advertising it on their social media, and a few days after they were advertising it for the conclusion of they had a service, and the Prime Minister of Canada attended the service at their mosque, in spite of so much history with this organization. But Prime Minister Justin Trudeau attended their service. And so how do you see this going? On the one hand, we're the most targeted group in North America, Jews. Last year, you know what happened middle of May when there were the attacks on Jews throughout North America, and it continued and continued and continued. And now we see even more either government support, government official support, or actively turning a blind eye to where that threat is coming from. This is what's going on right now.
It's funny. It's more difficult to get into Canada as a refugee from Ukraine right now than it is to get into Canada as a BDS Jew-hating speaker, who's going to come and speak, on behalf of a Muslim association here and there. And I think that's because the Canadian government is just trying to play, footsie with the Muslim community of Canada to garner their support, to garner their votes during election day. And, if it means that, you kind of, crush down, in a sense, the Jewish community. And that's okay, because when you look at the big picture, the long term, the Jewish community here isn't going to grow, but the Muslim community certainly is. And if you want to keep your seat at the parliament and you want to play the political game, this is the political game that you end up playing. And there's not too many strong people in the Canadian political sphere that are willing to stand up and call a spade a spade. And if you're looking for Trudeau to do that, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. We've seen what they've done. They've given us lip service in the guise of a summit to, put an end to all anti-Semitism, and nothing has come out of it. Anti-Semitism is flourishing. Al-Quds Day is going on without a problem. Nakba Day commemorations are happening across the country.
Yeah.
Threats to Jewish persons and Jewish establishments happen on almost regular basis. Speakers coming in from all over the world who speak against Jews, Jew hatred, are free and ready to come in under the support of the government that gives money and funding for these events to take place. And I ask you one question: where is our Jewish leadership? And again, you can tell me they write letters, they pick up the phone, they make calls, but it's not effective. None of what they're doing is effective. It has given zero stop to anything that is happening. And that's my question at the end of the day. And that's my question every time you and me are together is, where are they? What are they doing? Why can't we see anything that's happening for our community? I have not felt a sense of safety as a result of what Federation or CJA have done for our community in the last decade plus. And nothing that they have done has given me any kind of sense of comfort. If anything, I feel frightened for the future of our community. As more and more wokeism enters our community, I fear for the support for Israel. I fear for the support of Zionism. And I fear for our Jewish future is really where it's at.
The former head of the Wiedenthal Center,
Avi Ben Lolo?
Avi Ben Lolo, yeah. So, so he just sent out a notification earlier today that in Peel region, there's a book that's that's being promoted, and very anti-Semitic book, a BDS book that goes on about Jews in a horrible way. And we were talking about the Toronto District School Board, but there's other school boards where this is really rampant. So when we're talking about, you're bringing in various speakers are coming into Canada that only want to incite hatred against Jews, and have no problem with statements by the head of Hamas, slaughter the Jews, use whatever you want, and they're calling that resistance and justifiable defense or resistance. And you have these books, and we find some of these books. We don't find all the books, but there is a huge problem there. And when you see students in the public school system believing this and embracing it, and then they're going to go to university campuses, and it just goes on and on and on. And then they'll have maybe political aspirations. But on that
Meir,
level, politics. Yeah,
it's called grooming. The word is grooming, is what they're doing. It's no different than a pedophile that grooms children so that they can later on have the power over them to do what they want. It's no different than anybody else that does grooming. That's what they're doing. They're grooming them. They've understood that if you started early enough in kindergarten and you groom them from kindergarten on, what you're going to bring out at the end, at age 18, is somebody who's willing to take an axe or a knife and butcher the person who puts them, in a vehicle and takes them into Israel proper so that they can have some livelihood and a job. That's where you got at the end of the day, and it's grooming. And in grooming, you decide when you pull the little thing off of the grenade before you throw the grenade, and that's what's happening here, and there's generations of kids growing up and being groomed, not just in Israel, but also across North America. And again, I tell everybody they can go on YouTube, they can search Quds Day, and you tell me who you see marching in the streets. It's not the 60, 70, 50-year-olds, it's the 18, 16, 15, 20-year-olds that are marching in the streets, that are causing the violence. Those are the ones that have been already groomed to hate Jews, not just in Israel, but all across the world. And that is the biggest issue. Here we go.
This shows it.
Yeah.
This was a Hollywood video. So what they teach their youth to do.
And then you
expect some Arabs dress up as Jewish kids, and someone comes out and starts stabbing them. That's what they're showing.
And then you expect, that these kids will grow up to be political adversaries that you could sit across the table with and have some kind of a meaningful negotiation where there's a level of understanding? Where there's such a disparity between what we teach our children as Jewish children, compared to what they teach their children, as Arab children. And it's a problem. I was just, we were just celebrating Yom Ha'atzmaut. And we were listening to music here at home, from Reshet Gimel in Israel. And every second, third song that relates to Yom Ha'atzmaut, it has the theme in it of peace, longing for peace, wanting peace. That's what we're singing in Yom Ha'atzmaut, and in the day where we celebrate our own independence. We don't forget to long for the one thing that we want, which is peace, and to live in peace with our neighbors. On the other hand, what songs are you hearing from the other side? What are the lyrics? What are the messages that come out of the songs that they sing? It's all about killing Jews, murdering Jews, annihilating Jews, destroying Israel. That is the difference between the two camps. And you cannot bridge such a big difference. It's such a big difference. Even Bentzi, would tell you, that if there was somebody on the other side that was worth talking to, that you were able to have a true conversation, that they were sincere, that they understand, he would also be willing to sit at that table and listen. But there's nobody there. There's absolutely nobody there. Nobody in the Israeli government who's from the Arab coalition. If you think the Arab members of Knesset who are in the government are there because they truly believe that Israel belongs to the Jewish people, or they truly believe that Israel should be a Jewish state, you got another thing coming. It's all a political game. And we all need to understand that it's a political game. These guys didn't, wake up, yesterday and had some revelation, that made them almost, decide now that they need to go in the way of peace. This is just a game from them, and they're buying time, and they want to buy influence within the Arab community. And the influence that they can buy within the Arab community will give them that power that they're looking for when they're going to come across the table and negotiate with the Jewish component of the Israeli government. That's what the game is all about. And we need to be able to speak out and say that's the game that is being played at the moment in Israel. But it's also the game that's being played outside of Israel in the diaspora. And it's a game that we're losing every single day here in the diaspora. And it's sad for me. Let me tell you something, on May 15th here in Winnipeg, and we're just trying to find out, the exact details. But it appears that there's going to be a flag-raising ceremony on May 15th at our city hall where they're going to raise the Palestinian flag. And we're trying to find out if this is actually a city-sanctioned event, or if these Palestinians are simply going to show up and the supporters on city hall grounds and force the Palestinian flag up the pole. In either case, considering what's happening right now in Israel and the butchering of Jews, to the thought that the Palestinian flag would be raised on the grounds of any city hall in Canada is outrageous, especially people like myself, Israelis like myself, who have suffered in the hands of Palestinian terrorists and butchery. It's outrageous, but it just shows you how far we've gone and how far backwards we've come as a community by just putting our head in the sand and and looking at building more buildings and wanting to have our names on buildings and, hey, I want to win an award and all this make me good feel stuff. And in the meantime, our enemies, our adversaries have quietly gained momentum. And today, they have no problem saying we're going to raise the Palestinian flag at City Hall. You know which flag they didn't raise at City Hall when we asked them to raise the flag? I'll give you a guess.
Israel.
Israeli flag. You are correct.
Okay, Ron,
so
we're going to have
the battle.
We're running out of time, but you know what?
Yeah.
We're going to have to make that an issue like right away, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hop on it. And
sure.
Just like we did with the museum, we got to make, this is extremely serious. So we have to hop on it right away. Let's get busy with it. And
sure.
But I want to thank you for being on the show today.
Well, thank you.
But we'll talk about logistics, what to, moving forward to
for sure
accomplish that.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for this. Final words, final comment before we sign off, Ron. Go ahead.
The battle is long, but the battle is winnable. We just got to keep doing what we're doing, keep on fighting, keep on raising the issue, keep on taking those people to be taken to task, and recognizing that with the more we speak about it, the more people that come to our camp, the better and the stronger we will be. And if we don't do it ourselves, who will do it for us? So I'm a big believer that we can win this battle, and I always end with Am Yisrael Chai.
Amen. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Very important show tonight. I think our doctor in the studio has a song that we're going to conclude with.
I think we'll conclude. I think it's appropriate to conclude with Hatikva. Just wanted to make a quick comment on our guest earlier on his organization. Just be aware of it. It's an important organization, so support it. Go check out their website, lehava-us.com. That's the English site for those of us who are illiterate in Hebrew. But go to the site. It's a very thorough site, and there's so much. If you just put in the name of the site on Wikipedia, you get more Jew hate sites than you get pro-Israel sites. So there's something wrong with social media. If you put in Lehava, what you get are all the people who are opposed to it, as opposed to those who are in favor of it. So go on it, and then I'm going to bring up a song while you guys have some closing comments. Take me a minute. We'll play 2 songs, and then we'll sign out till next week.
Yeah, so Ron, so I'm here already, 6 already in Israel, and there's been about 5 terror attacks. And on the one hand, I'm going around the country, I'm seeing the beauty of the country, I'm meeting great people in the country, and then all of a sudden there's in Holon there's an attack, in Halevi there's an attack. There's it's really sickening, these attacks, and I see the glorification of the attacks. So there's got to be some changes here, and certainly the government, this particular coalition, they could pull the wool over people. And why is this guy who are able to still incite people? It doesn't make any sense. So hopefully there will be some changes going.
And why is he able to dictate Israeli policy from Gaza, where he's hiding? I feel sometimes we act out of fear than out of strength, and that's a problem. We shouldn't act out of fear. We should act out of strength because we are strong. And somebody like him shouldn't be dictating to us how things will be. We should dictate to him how things will be. And the day that we start doing that is the day that things will turn around.
Right. Yeah, agreed. 100%. There's no question about it. Absolutely.
Well, I think this song I'm about to play by a great a cappella group has become a theme song for several reasons. Number one, because of its message. Number two, because in the past we've played some songs, some music, some pro-Israel, and we get dinged for copyright. This group this encourages us to spread the word. So let's hear them, and then we'll go to Hatikva. Without any further ado, take it away.
Great song.
Left it all to be with you. Distant dreams have now come true. Walk the streets of legends told. We've come home. We've come home. We've come home. And we'll never stand alone. After 2,000 years, we are home. Not a native of this land, bring me up and take my hand. Sapphire seas and golden sand, a place called home. We've come home, we've come home to a land of our own. we are home. זאת ארצי מולדתי, על אדמתי צעדתי, עברי עתידי, זה ביתי. We come home, and we'll never stand alone. After 2,000 years, we are home. We come home to a land of our own. After 2,000 years, we are home. After 2,000 years, we are home.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
קולות בלב בנימה,
נפש יהודי
הומייה,
ותן מזרח קדימה,
עין לציון צופיה, עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו, התקווה בשנות 2000, להיות החופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים, להיות החופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון
יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל